From the Holy Writ that was recited, we discover a time when Jesus has to deal with the denial of those whom he calls disciples, which leads us into the surrounding of the crowd by those who proclaimed to be real and both relevant. If I can piggyback upon that thought, I'd like to use as a title to the text on this evening, Rebels Receive Revelation. Rebels receive revelation. Opening of the text, we discover that the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders all huddle at Caiaphas's house. They congregate with the intent to conjure on how they may kill the Christ. I know that this ideology does not take place in any of our churches, but the ideology is if you kill the Christ, you kill the preaching of the gospel, you kill the healing of the sick, you kill the raising of the dead, you kill giving sight to the blind, you kill giving strength to the weak. Would you look at one more neighbor and say, neighbor, rebels receive revelation. It was interesting to me as the text began to tiptoe through the tulips of my temple. And I could not understand why these rebellious people would go after the Christ when in this wicked, wacky, and wayward world in which we live, there are a plethora of problematic people that you could pursue at any given time. The same confusion, Bishop, catches me on every Sunday morning, because I just don't understand if there's any place you want to find problematic people to which you can pursue to punish, it ought not be in God's house. I'm holding you too long, let me. In this wicked, wacky, and wayward world in which we live, I have discovered that we have a plethora of problematic people to which we could pursue at any given time. Check it out, y'all. In our community, there are con men. There are political playboys and wannabes in the White House. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me. What then leads us up to around the 25th verse, where we find that a rebel by the name of Judas waits to confront the crowd, and there he cries. He could have cried when he was in the privacy of his own personal praise. But you know how some rebels are. They need a crowd before they can cry. You can always tell rebellious and rebel-like folk, not here at Hollywood, but in some other woods, they come up to the front, not to render their service, but simply to be seen. Would you do me one more favor, and I promise you I'm out of here. Look at one more neighbor and say, neighbor, rebels receive revelation. Around the 25th verse, the text says that Judas waits for the conjurement of the crowd before he offers his cry. He says, what will you give me if I give over God? Well, there was a problem in the text, because if I could, I would have mentioned to Judas, you can't give what you don't have. So the Bible says that Judas, after Jesus had described the dipping in the dish, as a rebel, he received revelation. Because here it is, Judas says, Master, is it I? Jesus, without having to offer explanation or exhortation or Jesus says, you now know it's you. Now by your own confession, you have declared that you are the one. The text then moves further to where we are tonight, and I have to leave you because my time has drawn near. The text says that there was chief priests, there were elders, and there were some other folk who decided that they were going to kill Jesus. And I must suggest to you, my brothers and sisters, when you come to the house of God, you ought to come not to kill Jesus, but you ought to come to receive the life that he is, Jesus. I'm out of here now. The text says that when Jesus described the dipping in the dish, he says that somebody is going to attempt to kill me. And all of those that were there looked around and said, I don't believe that could be me. I would not kill the one who raised my son from the dead. And I would not kill the one who put food on my table. And I certainly would not kill the one who provides clothes on my back. And I would not kill the one who assures that there's food in dry cupboards. Lord have mercy, but the Bible says that while all others were testifying of the truth of Jesus, there was a one who stepped to the plate and said, Jesus, is that one me? Jesus said, I really don't have to go any further because thou has already said it. And I'm so glad this morning, rather this evening, y'all, that not only, is there rebels in the text, but can I testify of the truth on the night that there's some rebels right here in the house? Yeah, you may be righteous now, but just look back over the yesterdays of your life and you will testify that I was a rebel. I'm closing, y'all. Yes, some of us don't have to look back on the yesterday because we can look right here and right now. Because if truth be told, you still are a rebel. But I'm so glad that the Bible tells us that rebels can receive revelation. Can I tell you all of my revelation? When I was a rebel, I did it like the songwriter declared. I was sinking deep in sin, far from a peaceful shore, sinking never to rise no more. Good night, y'all. But the master of the sea heard my despairing cries, and from the waters he lifted me, now safe. Is there anybody here tonight who can declare I once was a rebel, but I received the revelation from God? What is that revelation? One Friday